This is 5.5, day 2, part 2. We now want to go into circular trig, so thinking about our unit circle. And if you look at your unit circle, could you find the exact value of the sine of 105 degrees? It's 105 degrees on your unit circle on your desk. It's not there. But here's how the half angle formulas can benefit you. If I double 105 degrees, what is the double of 105 degrees? 210 degrees. Now, does 210 degrees sound familiar to you? Yes. 210 degrees is on the unit circle. So, if I say the sine of 210 degrees divided by 2 is 105 degrees. You agree with me? Yes. So this is going to use our half angle. So if we look over on the right in our box, which formula am I going to choose? The first, second, or the third one? The first one. So now I say the sine of 105 degrees is the same thing as the sine of 210 degrees over 2. And now I just substitute it into the formula. The square root of 1 minus the cosine of 210 degrees over 2. Now we can find the exact value of the sine of 105 degrees. So we look over at our unit circle. What is the exact value of the cosine of 210 degrees? What is it? Great. Negative square root of 3 over 2. So we replace that cosine of 210 degrees with negative square root of 3 over 2. Now, just like yesterday, it's reduce, 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 reduce all the way down. So negative, negative in that numerator turns into a positive square root of 3 over 2. Sorry, it's getting a little small there. Now, how can I combine those two terms together, the 1 and the plus square root of 3 over 2? Add them. So change that 1 to 2 over 2. Same denominator. 2 over 2 plus square root of 3 over 2 over 2. What lots of fun 2's we have going on there. Now we add those two fractions together in the numerator. 2 plus the square root of 3 over 2. And then divided by 2. Now I essentially have a fraction over a fraction. So what do I do with this bottom 2? Change it to multiplication and reciprocate it. So now we have 2 plus the square root of 3 over 2 times, and then we reciprocated that 2 to 1/2. Now we can multiply across. When we multiply across in that numerator, we're still left with just the same numerator, but then 2 times 2 is 4. So the numerator we said stays as it is. We're just multiplying by 1, and then 2 times 2 is 4. Now we can split up that radical into 2 radicals. And the only part that I want you to reduce is the square root of 4. You can leave that other numerator as a double radical. And that is the exact value for the sine of 105 degrees. Where before we can only find out the sine of 105 degrees is actually plug it into our calculator and approximate it with a decimal place. Yep. Another circular trig problem We want to find the exact value of the cosine of pi over 12. Is the cosine of pi over 12 on your unit circle? No, it's not. But we can use a half angle to get us there. So what is the double of pi over 12? And this is where they get to be tricky, is when you have these radian measures, because you're working with fractions. My recommendation is just multiply it by 2. What is the double of that? So now what do we do with that 12 and that 2? Can I reduce it? Yep, to a 6 and a 1. So we get pi over 6 is the double of pi over 12. Because we're going to use it the half angle. Is pi over 6 on the unit circle? Yes. So now we can say that the cosine of pi over 12 is the same thing as the cosine of pi over 6 divided by 2. You agree? They're the same thing? If you want to check it, you could change it to multiplication and reciprocate that 2, and you would get pi over 12. So now we're going to go ahead and find out what is the exact value of the cosine of pi over 12. So looking at our formulas, which formula are we going to choose? The second one. So we say then that the cosine of pi over 6 divided by 2 is the square root of 1 plus the cosine of, is it pi over 12 there? Pi over 6. Yep. And we're not going to take the time to simplify this all the way down. We spend a lot of time in our lessons reducing fractions and radicals, so I hope we're kind of there now that you're getting more comfortable with reducing that on your own. So we won't spend as much time during that lesson today doing that. Okay, so now using our unit circle, what is the exact value of the cosine of pi over 6? Square root of 3 over 2, we agree? All right. And then I'm going to skip the rest of this problem. You may want to write in your notes that you would still need to simplify it all the way down. This still needs to be simplified. Like we did on the last sets of problems. No, unless you want to, I can. Okay. So what would we do with that 1? So we have to change that denominator? Yep. 2 over 2. And then plus square root of 3 over 2 is square root of 3 plus 2 over 2 divided by 2. And then you would change this to multiplication and reciprocate that 2. So square root of 3 plus 2 over 2. Reciprocating that 2 would be 1/2. And then we'd multiply across. So we still have that same numerator. But then the denominator would be 2 times 2, which is 4. And then we'd separate out that radical into 2 radicals. And what's the square root of 4? 2. And then the numerator is a double radical. And that's what it would look like.